Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to another LinkedIn Live session, Pep Talk. My name is Jessica and today I have with me Mr. Anand Batra, Chief Financial Officer at Pepperfry. A graduate from the London School of Economics and a die-hard football fan, we have Mr. Anand Batra. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jessica. It's great to be here.
Awesome. So, to start with, Anand, just tell us about your earlier years. You've had an awesome career. So we would want to know about how did it all start, especially about your educational background.
So, Jessica, I grew up in Mumbai, did my schooling here, went to college at Narsi Munji College, and then got an opportunity to study at the London School of Economics. I grabbed that opportunity with both hands and had a great year studying at the LSE. And like any good LSE graduate, once I graduated, I started working in investment banking. Did that for 3.5 years. Till one day in 2012, when I wrote to Amrish because I saw a job posting for Pepperfry.
Okay.
And I thought it was interesting. Ambrish responded 2 days later, and within 5 days, I was in the office for a set of interviews. I met the senior team for over 6 hours,
Wow.
and at the end of that, they made me an offer. I decided to take up the offer, and that changed my life. I spent 5 years of, had a great experience over 5 years at Pepperfry, and then at the end of which I moved on and worked in venture capital, where we used to invest in early stage tech and digital companies.
Okay.
And then earlier this year, Amrish called me again. He said that obviously Pepperfry is going great guns and a lot of exciting times ahead for us in terms of IPO, etc., etc. And he said, why don't you come back and join us as a CFO? Again, that this was like deja vu all over, right? 10 years later.
Right.
And I decided to, quit my investing career and start working with Pepperfry again.
Great. So there was no 6 hours conversation again when you joined back.
No, it was a very long conversation with both
Okay.
Ambrish and Ashish. We discussed many aspects of the role, but I
Right.
was really excited to come back and I was very glad that I'm back now.
Awesome. So, now we all know that you've been with Pepperfry earlier when Pepperfry started, and now that you've joined back, what actually made you join back? What is something that I know besides Amrish's charm, like you always mention?
Yes.
But what is it that made you join back?
So obviously Ambrish's charm is number one, but also the fact that I think we built a great brand.
Right.
We built a truly differentiated business in furniture and home.
Absolutely.
We've actually created a lot of value for customers, right, by giving them access to buying high quality
Right.
furniture and home goods at great prices.
Right.
And I think over the next few years, which is our next phase of growth, right, we'll be looking at obviously going public, building a great business, building a business with good corporate governance and high integrity. I think I was very excited by that opportunity, and therefore I decided to rejoin Pepperfry.
That's really nice. That's really nice. So, just a quick question on London School of Economics. You've graduated from there. So, do you really think that having a degree from the LSE accelerated your growth, or added more advantages or opportunities for you?
No, it certainly did. And honestly, what happens is your educational background can only get you to some places, right? For example,
Absolutely.
so it opens up doors for you certainly at the start of your career.
Right.
But after that, it's what you do in your role in your career is what matters, right? At the end of the day. But going to the LSE was a great experience for me. It gave me an international exposure, a view into how people from different countries think, act, and study, right? I mean, I was a kid from India, grew up in a very insulated environment, and that was an eye opener for me. So I had a great learning experience there. Obviously, worked with and studied under some of the best professors in the world.
Right.
That helped a lot. And I think I made great friends, and built a very solid network. And I look back at my LSE years with fond memories.
Very nice. That's so nice to know about. So let's talk about something very recent, Anand. So you are right now the Chief Financial Officer at Pepperfry, and recently you won the Business World 40 Under 40 award. So it's been an extraordinary journey, I'm sure, and you do have a lot of memories about it. A lot of young leaders today aspire to be what you are today, right? So take us behind the scenes of 40 Under 40. How did it all happen? What was the moment like?
So interestingly, Amrish told me that we should nominate you for this award, and we went ahead with the process of nomination as Pepperfry. So thank you to Amrish and Ashish for that. But I think what we had to do was obviously make a presentation to the jury, then appear before the jury, which consisted of very senior leaders in finance across the spectrum, right, across industries. And the BW Business World team is obviously had done a lot of work in terms of putting that jury together.
Right.
I had to present to the jury. They had asked me a lot of pertinent questions on my career, on what we had done at Pepperfry and what I had done before. And on the back of all of that, they made a decision to avoid, to nominate, to shortlist me for the award. And even the award ceremony was a good experience. Met a lot of other young senior professionals from the industry, and have been connected with them since then.
That's so great, and congratulations once again on winning the
Thank
award.
you. Thank you, Jessica.
Right. So we all know you have a very packed schedule and a lot of work today. So how do you manage to stay productive despite having such a tight schedule, and you get so much of work done? So what are your quick productivity hacks that you would like to share with us?
So number one is stay organized, right? Like Ambrish always says. I think I've taken that mantra to my heart, and I truly try to follow that as much as possible. So even if you look at my inbox, I follow a zero inbox policy, right? So whatever is in my inbox is my pending task.
Right.
If it's done, I move it to, let's say, another folder in the inbox, right? So that's how I stay on top of my outstanding tasks and what I need to do. But overall, I think what I do is I set up tasks and goals for myself, and set up deadlines for myself, right? So something that is super critical and has to be done within a day, I ensure that
Right.
that's done within a day. And then something that can be done over a week, I ensure that I give the right timeline, and I try to adhere to my timelines. And what I also do is I try to ensure that I keep the org, or let's say my reporting manager, who's Ambrish, updated on whatever I'm working on. And I think that also helps, right? To set expectations, to be organized, to plan out your tasks in a time efficient manner, and then to follow your deadlines and get stuff done. I think
Right.
that's the mantra to good productivity.
Right. I totally agree with you, because a lot of times we set deadlines, but then following on that is what a lot of
Correct.
people miss out on. And
Correct. And it's important to set realistic deadlines even for yourself, right?
absolutely.
If you think you can get something done within a day, say that you will do it within a day. If you think it will take more time, say that it will take more time, right?
Right.
It's actually worse to set expectations to do something early on, and then to start to keep delaying stuff, right?
Right.
Which doesn't help you, doesn't help the org, doesn't help your manager.
Right. Right. Totally agree. Totally. Totally. So, I'm sure work definitely gets stressful, but then we all know you always are so calm. Despite all the stress around you, you always tend to stay so calm. So, how do you manage to do that? Like, how do you manage to always put that smile on your face?
So I think it's simple, right? I think obviously, look, we are here to work, and we are here to create a difference, right, in the tech and digital ecosystem. But it's also important to enjoy what you do, because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you can't do it for 12 hours a day, right?
Absolutely.
So I think the first thing is to make sure that you enjoy what you're doing. If you're not, then you should reevaluate. But if you're enjoying what you're doing, then you should also keep the overall objective in mind, right? Let's say you may have tough conversations with various people in the organization, right?
Right.
But you have to keep in mind that we're all working towards making sure that we are meeting the org's objectives, right? We're not.
Correct.
There's nothing personal. There's nothing where you're basically creating issues with let's say other people in the org. As long as you make sure that you're doing stuff for the benefit of the org, you're good. And it's also important to have fun, right? So for example, try to remember funny anecdotes, or try to crack jokes wherever you can. It always helps lighten the mood.
That's absolutely true, and we definitely see that when you're around, you always have the smile, and you keep the people around you also really geared up and pepped up all.
Thank you.
Okay, so your work involves a lot of complex numbers. You deal with numbers every day. I wouldn't even want to remember those numbers. So what's your approach towards problem solving? How do you take that up?
I think it's very simple, right? You approach any problem macro to micro. You first look at the overall objective. You first understand, okay, what is the problem? Where is the problem stemming from? What is the context for the problem? Get the overall context right. Then try to identify what are the pain points. What are the issues that are causing that problem?
Right.
Then try to identify solutions for that, and then implement those solutions, right? So effectively a STAR framework, situation, task, action, and response framework. I think if you use that, I think any problem becomes a simple problem.
Very
As long
nice.
as long as you keep the overall context in mind, and then try to approach a problem through a problem solving approach, as opposed to an approach where you're just trying to uh, complain or trying to you know blame it on others, right?
Right. So look at it with your approach should basically be to how to get it solved.
Correct, absolutely.
Right. That's interesting. Very nice. Uh, something on exercise. So we know you like to walk a lot, not run. You used to run earlier though, but nowadays you spend a lot of time walking.
Yeah.
So how does exercise really help you? I know it's healthy, but then how does it help you?
Yeah, my main motivation to exercise is to digest the pizza that I've had the last time. So that's the amount of that's my overall objective to exercise, so that I can eat more and more pizzas. That's it.
Oh, well, that's really interesting. I am sure nobody would have thought of it that way.
A lot of people do.
Well, that's great. So, what are your hobbies and passions? What do you like doing when you're free? How do you spend your time?
So I love football. Big supporter of Arsenal Football Club.
I can see that.
Yes, and I love Test cricket. Watch a lot of Test cricket. If I make it a point to watch Test cricket in stadiums. So
Okay.
I've watched matches all over India and in some places abroad. I also like to read, mainly non-fiction, but yeah, and then also love to drive my car. So whenever I get an opportunity, I take my car for a spin.
Oh, that's lovely. Very nice. So, how often do you, do you play football or watch football matches?
So I was a very average football player as a
Okay.
defender, and I would just basically stand there and block people, right? So, but I do understand the strategy and the tactics behind football. So love to watch football, love to watch different clubs and different teams playing, and yeah, I mean I follow football very regularly, right? So the season is just starting next week, so
Okay.
I'll probably be hooked up and watch football every weekend.
That's nice. That's interesting. Very nice. So it's very important that you will make time for your hobbies, and that's really great to know that you will be doing that.
Don't tell that, Amrish.
I won't, but that's live.
Oh shit.
All right. So coming back to investments, you being in the finance industry for all this while, and you've spent a lot of time understanding the finances. What are your areas of investments?
So I like to keep it very simple, right? I have a balanced approach. I'm not a big risk taker, but I'm not too conservative either, right? So I like to make sure that I maintain a healthy portfolio of equity,
Okay.
mainly listed equity,
Okay.
mutual funds, because I believe that mutual fund managers are expert at doing what they do. So I trust them with my money, and debt,
Okay.
and also real estate, right? So I very traditional approach, but there is one rule to investing, right? Keep it simple, keep it clean, and you will make money over the long term. I do not believe in short-term, things that create hype, which can make you money in the short term, but will eventually lose you money in the long term.
In the long term, right, right. So you prefer investing it and letting it grow for the long
Absolutely.
term, right? That's nice.
You work hard, let your money rest.
True that. So, my final question to you is today a lot of people are looking to build their career in finance. They really aspire to be what you are today. So, what would be your advice for our youth today?
Sure. So I think, see, finance is a very fast-paced industry, right? That's increasingly creating a lot of. It's becoming very important for the world economy, right? 25 to 30% of the world economy is effectively contributed by the financial services industry.
Right.
So it's important to find what you love doing within finance. I think often what people do is they do their CA or they do their MBA, and then try to figure out, right? But often, sometimes people, join trading because they would have watched movies or seen some of their seniors do trading. But if they don't like quant, and if they don't like a fast-paced lifestyle, sometimes they will join a trading job, but they will start hating it within, let's say, 6 months or 1 year. So it's important to sit back, understand what you like,
Right.
understand what type of job profile suits you, and then go after that type of job profile within finance.
Right.
I think that's very, very important. Also, I think it's important to keep in mind that you should be prepared to work hard at the start of your career. It's an industry which requires a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work before you start getting the fruits of your labor, right? So
True.
to get into it with your eyes open is what I would say.
That's really nice. Well, I'm sure all our audience, especially the ones who are looking to make a career in finance, have got a great advice and will definitely follow and adhere to what you have to say and all your suggestions. So let's quickly, I see there are a lot of questions coming in from our audience. So let's quickly take some
Sure.
questions from our audience. Yeah. So Anand Batra rocks.
Thank you.
Okay, and we have, okay, let's take this one. So, a lot of people follow the fire, mantra today, financial independence and retire early. So, what are your tips on attaining this goal?
So very simple, right? I think it's important to, even at the start of your career, right, start saving money.
Okay.
uh, keep a healthy proportion between what you spend and what you save, and invest the money that you save in productive assets. So which means you invest in equities, you invest in bonds, you invest in debt, you invest in FDs. Obviously take the advice of your financial manager and your investment advisor before you make any decision, but
Okay.
make sure that the money that you save grows productively for you. And uh, and and what you also should do is make sure that you keep adding value to your career, so that your remuneration and how companies value and therefore what they pay you also keeps going up as your career
Right.
keeps progressing, right?
Right.
And it's important to then keep a rainy day fund as well, right? Because some things sometimes do not go to plan, and to make sure that you have a pot of money lying with you, which helps you overcome any unforeseen circumstances, right?
Right. Right.
And yes, eventually that small pot of money that you save keeps growing until a time where you achieve financial independence, and you don't have to work in order to enjoy a good lifestyle. I
Right.
hope all of us get there very soon,
Yes.
but it's important to prepare and start early.
Great. Great. Well, that's true. I totally agree with you on that. Let's pick one more. Okay. So, does work life balance exist when you operate at a CXO level?
I mean, I'd like to think it does, right? I think it's important. Again, it depends on how organized you are. It depends on how clearly you set the goals for your teams, and how well you implement, execute, and monitor those goals and objectives, and make sure that you are in constant touch with the other parts of the organization. Make sure that you follow up well with your team and with external teams, and achieve whatever you set to plan, right? I truly believe that work-life balance is possible, and I truly recommend people having work-life balance, right? Otherwise, you burn out.
Right, right,
You burn out. You are less productive, and that's a downward spiral, right? You're going to that downward spiral. So it's important to make sure that you rest. You obviously work hard, work very hard, but also rest. Give your mind some downtime, and then come back afresh, and start executing on your plans again.
right. That's great. Um, our next question from our audience. Um, could you share some tips to manage large teams?
Interesting. So I think one is obviously you have to make sure that you set the goals and the vision for the team very very clearly, right? So each member in the team should know what their objective is, what their goals are, and how should they go about meeting those goals, and what will they get when they achieve those goals, right? So that's
Right,
very very important to do.
right,
Number two is to track the achievements of your goals, targets, plans, etc., right? In a periodic way. It's important not to micromanage. It's important not to stay at 50,000 feet, because otherwise you're not executing well.
right,
It's important to find that right balance, and then finally also keep motivating and rewarding your team members, right, at periodic intervals. If um, someone has done an achievement, it's important to recognize that achievement, right? If someone has issues, it's important to solve those issues. It's also very important to share knowledge within and outside the organization,
right,
because if I am performing a certain function, and I know that I mean some other person is facing similar issues. If I'm not sharing my knowledge with that other person is not learning, and therefore the organization is not learning and moving forward.
true.
It's important to drive that knowledge sharing also within the team. So yeah, I think those are some tips that I try to follow.
That's really very inspiring, and I'm sure a lot of leaders would want to follow and implement this. Uh, let's pick one more
Sure.
question. And So, how do you zero in on your choice before making an investment? That's interesting. I'd also want to know that.
So it's interesting, right? And my career as a venture capital investor really helped me, right, through this decision. It's very, very important to do your due diligence on an investment, because ultimately you're investing your hard-earned money, right?
Right.
The money that you get after paying all taxes that comes into your account. You're trusting someone else with that money,
True.
with an objective of growing that money. The last thing you want to do is make a hasty decision,
Right.
either lose the money or not get enough return on your investment, right? So it's important to do your diligence, which means if you're investing in a listed company, for example, right, make sure you understand their financial plans, make sure make sure that you understand their P&L, their balance sheet, make sure you understand what are the management's views on the market, on the business going forward, make sure you understand and read analyst commentary, make sure you follow their competitors, and also then make sure you understand how you value that company, right, and how that company is valued in the markets. That's just
Right.
one example. Obviously, there are other avenues. There is real estate. In real estate, you figure out what are the demand and supply dynamics in the market. Figure out what price you're getting your project at. Make sure that the builder is reputed. Make sure that they have a track record of delivering projects on time. Make sure that the area that you're buying your flat in is a growth area, right? If you're looking for an investment from an
Correct.
investment perspective.
Right.
And similarly in other avenues, right? So the important, if I go macro, the important thing is to make sure that you do your due diligence. On that, the items that you do diligence on may change as per investment avenue,
Correct.
but doing your own research and doing it well always pays off. Don't invest after getting tips while jogging from your friend. You'll always lose money if you do that.
Right. So, right, audience, we heard that. Do your due diligence before you invest. Just don't go on tips you get from your friends while jogging.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great, that is good. We have another question from an audience, and I'll say, what does success mean to you?
Interesting question. I think success means making sure that I meet and exceed the objectives that I set out for myself, for whatever uh, task that I'm working on, right? Be it professional, be it personal. I think it also means that while achieving those tasks and objectives, I'm also making sure that I'm creating a name for myself. I'm making sure that people around me are learning and thriving, and also making sure that the organization that I work for or my family also prospers
Right.
while I'm achieving my
Right.
objectives.
Right. That's good. That's very nice. We have a lot of questions coming in, and you have lots of fans, Anand.
Thank you so much.
Well, I can just see a lot of comments pouring in on the post. Uh, so, we have a question related to Pepperfry, which our audience has posted. What are the key metrics that drive growth at Pepperfry?
I think that's a very interesting question, right? I think for Pepperfry, given the fact that we are pioneering the furniture and home goods industry in India, right? Effectively organizing it for the first time, we actually created organized distribution of furniture supply within the country. Right.
Right.
It had never been done before.
Absolutely.
So from a growth perspective, we look at from the very top, we look at how many people are interested in buying furniture with us, how many people eventually come and buy with us, how many people are eventually get to know that there is a concept of buying furniture online. Then it's also about understanding, okay, from the people who convert with us, how much of their wallet share are we getting, right? And therefore what are the revenues that we drive or derive from these customers, right? And also, are we giving them a good customer experience so that they come back to us when they want their next furniture or home goods item?
Right.
It's very important to also make sure that we are making the right margins, so we're setting the right expectations with our marketplace merchants, right? We are making sure that they are happy while we are growing, because unless they grow with us, we won't grow.
Correct.
Making sure that we continue to invest behind and grow our supply chain, because that's a core differentiator for us. We have the largest big box supply chain in the country.
Absolutely. Right.
Making sure that our employees are happy, making sure that all of them are learning, making sure that we attract the right talent, and finally making sure that we run a healthy unit economics business, so that we can create value for all our stakeholders, including our investors, founders, senior management, and employees.
That's very nice, and a lot of information for our audience and for all of us to know. We have time to pick another question quickly. How to balance the investment against salary? How much should I spend and how much do I invest?
So that's a very interesting question, right? And I think you have to take it. You have to be patient with how you even grow your lifestyle. I know that for a lot of people, especially in Gen Z, who are now graduating from college and joining their first jobs, right? Sometimes maybe 20 years ago, we didn't or at least we don't have those many areas to
Right,
spend on, right?
right.
So effectively, we were able to save more money than let's say people today can, because they have so many areas to spend on.
To spend, right.
But it's important to understand and evaluate your spending choices. Can you, because fundamentally you have to start saving right from day one.
Correct.
If you don't save, then you're basically betting that nothing can go wrong, and sometimes things do go wrong.
Do
right?
go up.
And when things go wrong, your savings come and help you, right?
Correct.
In making sure that you, and if you've got any expenses that relate to family, friends, career, etc., that you're able to meet those expenses. So it's important to make sure that, let's say, if you want to buy a phone, do you really need a phone every year, or can you buy a phone every 2 years? If you want a car, do you really want the top end model, or can you buy a normal model and then maybe make it last 7 or 8 years? If you're buying a pair of jeans, do you really want the most expensive jeans available in the market, especially as you're starting your career, or can you do with a good brand, right, which may not be as expensive? So
Right.
control your spends, spend on the most essential items, look good, feel good, but also don't overreach, right?
Right.
And limit your credit as much as you can at the start of your career, and that will really help you as you grow and have a family and have kids, and those savings will come in to help you
Correct.
at that time in your life.
It's about making your right choices
Absolutely.
on your spending habits.
Absolutely.
That's good. That's nice. Let's take one more question,
Sure.
if you may. Okay. That I have an interesting question here. So, what are the stark differences or similarities you see between your investing stint and the startup experience? Which one would you prefer for yourself for the longer term, and why?
So that's a very tough question. These are two fundamentally very different roles.
Right.
See, as an investor, right, you focus on macro.
Correct.
You focus on, your focus is to identify the next trend in tech and digital, right, and to go behind that trend and find companies that are executing to that trend, and hopefully invest behind the right companies.
Right.
And make value for yourself and the investors in the fund, right? But as an operating person, even at a senior level, your role is to obviously manage what you are currently running, plan for the future, prepare for the future, but also execution becomes very, very important, right? So one role is effectively blue sky thinking, evaluating trends in the industry and investing behind the right trends. An operating role also includes executing to your current role,
Correct.
but also planning for the future. So obviously, I think both roles have their respective challenges. I've been on both sides of the table. As to what I want to do in the future, I love executing. I love what I'm doing right now, and hope to do that in the long term as well.
Oh, that's really great, and thank you so much, Anand, for sharing all your insights, your experience with us. It's really been a great journey for you, and we loved and enjoyed talking to you and knowing about all your experiences throughout your career. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences.
Thank you,
with
Jessica.
us.
Thank you for having me
And
here.
thank you, audience, for staying with us throughout this session. I'm sure you enjoyed the session. Do stay tuned. We will be coming back soon with another LinkedIn Live session with another special person from a different industry, and who would be sharing a lot of experiences, their career, their journey, their experiences, and how it would inspire you. So stay tuned with us for our next LinkedIn Live session on Pep Talk. Till then, stay safe, take care, goodbye.
Thank you.